Hi, I'm Larry London, and this is Border Crossings. On today's show, we welcome the alternative band called Better Than Ezra. Formed in 1988 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, they released their debut CD a year later called Surprise, which was followed by their most popular album, Deluxe. And this year, the band are celebrating their 30th anniversary together with the re-release of the Deluxe album on vinyl. Better Than Ezra have been on tour with Bare Naked Ladies and Sugar Ray, and they join us today to talk about their new tour and new single called Grateful. Welcome to Border Crossings. Stay tuned for Better Than Ezra. Hi, I'm Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. They're on tour for a brand new single and celebrating their 30th anniversary together. We'd like to welcome to Washington, D.C. and to our studios, Better Than Ezra. Nice to have you guys.
It's so good to be here, to finally be here, because we fought with publicity and the label to be on the show. You guys have turned a cold shoulder to us, so finally to join you, it feels like an accomplishment.
Well, congratulations on all your success. I mean, having been together for as many years as you have, and you're at work right now in the studio on, I believe, album number 9, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's it. If you maybe it might be 10 if you include the greatest hits, Volume 1.
Yes, it's a lot.
Wow.
It's crazy. When we started our first rehearsal in March of 1988, little did we know that we would still be doing it and doing it at this level and talking with people like you and this tour. We're very grateful.
Well, you know, it's a thrill to have you guys here because I've played your music many, many times over my career on the stations I've worked at. And so to be able to meet you and have you in studio, you guys are a lot of fun. You're a fun band, fun music. You have a great time. Now, I wanted to find out Better Than Ezra because I've gotten a lot of email from listeners. You know, we mentioned you'd be here. I'm sure the most common question is, who's Ezra and why are you better? And, you know.
Well, we used to tell people the explanation of the name in the early days, and we found that they were a lot less interested in our band when we told them the explanation.
Friends are like, ooh.
Yeah, or just
the Hemingway story, but that doesn't work.
But so by not telling people, it kind of became our gimmick. And so, you know, there's a few books out there like origin of band names, like Rolling Stones and Beatles and all that stuff, and they have like a paragraph dedicated to the much bigger bands than us, and then. Because we don't tell people, we've got like several pages dedicated to, you know, explanations, potential.
Gotten way more mileage out of it.
But the Hemingway, you know, on page 258 of A Movable Feast, anything was better than Ezra learning how to play the bassoon is the most literate and well thought of.
It's so much better than the actual.
So we're just keeping
it mystery.
Our fear is that if we finally come clean, that people just won't care anymore at all.
Unsubscribe.
Exactly.
Now, you guys met at college many moons ago.
Louisiana State University.
And decided music was the way to go.
You know, I think we just wanted to play college bars.
We enjoyed it.
Fraternities and sororities. Yeah. And there's such a rich tradition in the southeastern part of the United States, going back to the Stax Volt bands like Sam and Dave and Otis Redding, and then in the mid-'80s, REM and B-52s of grinding out on that southeastern college circuit. Mm-hmm. And you could be an unsigned band, get in a beat-up van and tour around Atlanta, Athens, Tuscaloosa, Memphis, Nashville, Jackson, Oxford, Austin,
and just regional.
Make a living, and that's what we did. And
I guess that still goes on.
I guess it does.
I mean, with the internet, I don't know. I don't know that it does as often anymore.
Yeah. Well, I hope the Ezralites are tuned in today and they're listening and watching because it's a thrill to have Better Than Ezra here. Would you guys do a song for us?
Let's do it. Let's kind of maybe do this kind of chronological. This is the song since. This is kind of an anniversary year for us, which we will talk further about. Let's do Good.
All right.
Ooh, number 1.
Looking around the house, hidden behind the window and the door, searching for signs of light, but there's nobody home. Now maybe I'm just too frightened by the sound of it. Pieces of note fall down, but the letter said, it was good living with you. It was good. It was good living with you. It was good. Good, good, good. Yeah, yeah, good. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sitting around the house, watching the sun trace shadows on the floor, searching for signs of life, but there's nobody home. Now maybe I'll call or write you a letter. Maybe we'll see on the 4th of July. But I'm not too sure. No, I'm not too proud. Well, I'm not too sure, and I'm not too proud to say, it was good living with you. It was good. It was good living with you. It was good. Take it to the bridge. It was good living with you. It was good. It was good living with you. It was good. Yeah. Oh, you were so good. Oh, you were so damn good. Yeah, that's right.
Woo, there they are, Better Than Ezra, and good.
good.
1993. That was number one.
And just like a fine wine, it just gets more robust.
Gets better with time.
Better. Deeper meaning, too.
Yeah,
People
really
are starting to peel back the real meanings of the song. So many layers.
Now, I would guess that that's probably the most played song by you guys. I mean, everywhere you go, you're asked to play that every time.
I think it is. I mean, certainly with Spotify, and if you can track the streams, it's the highest streamed song. It's crazy because the it was going to be a lyric, but we wrote the song and we had to play it. We were excited to play it, and I just never got around to finishing the lyric, and that became the big hook.
And we would play it live, and friends were immediately like, "What's that song?"
I know,
It's
yeah.
just like it immediately like locked in for people.
And so, of course, your friends who you grew up with, who that we're all very close with still. We do things together, and they don't cut you any slack, and that's good. You need old friends around you, so they never let you get the big head. So if I do something, I say something lame or a bad joke or trip, or they usually go wah. Yeah, that's how they get.
And you had said in an interview it took 7 years to get signed.
That's right.
And 7 weeks to reach number one.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because we were in the South and we were just between New York and Los Angeles. It just took us a little longer to get noticed. But certainly we were out there doing it like 5 or 6 nights a week, and then eventually, boom, it hit with people.
Labels said no to us so many times that finally they're like, oh, geez, please, okay, we'll give you a deal. And
we weren't going to let it die. We were going to make it happen. And that's sort of really what happened, We
Where
put it out
were you
ourselves.
when they said you're number one? I mean, you remember that moment in your careers?
Tom usually
We were on
remembers.
tour. I think we were like in California or something
Maybe,
like that.
yeah. And that was a great moment for us. And it was an album we made ourselves. We made it in an apartment in West Hollywood, California, on half-inch 16-track tape. And if you know anything about audio recording, that's almost hobbyist level stuff. But because we had a great engineer and producer, and the songs were just really good, and well rehearsed, that they just translated. And if you listen, you put that album next to other albums, sonically, you can hear like, oh, wow, that is super garage rock. but it had a thing.
That's part of the love of it. I think people are into it because they're like, oh, this album brings back so many memories for me. You know, it's just cool.
And I remember when Norm Macdonald referenced it on
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live.
This summer, the #1 band on college campuses is Better Than Ezra. #2, Ezra. Yeah, people love that.
So you're marking the 30th anniversary now by releasing or re-releasing Deluxe, the album,
Yes.
as a vinyl.
Yeah.
Double vinyl will come out this August. We're doing it's PledgeMusic.
Yep.
And it's interesting. Pledge came out as kind of like almost a GoFundMe thing, and then it got so big that bands like Coldplay and Rolling Stones and U2 do these
legit
releases, but they're a way for fans to really become involved and get special things that they never have, like handwritten lyrics to songs that they request and stuff like that. So it's really nice. We're actually putting our blood into the vinyl.
The first track's in the blood. You know.
In the blood, so we just wanted to have some continuity in it.
No vials.
Michael was a bit squeamish. Passed out several times, but when he was passed out, we drew his blood and put it into the vinyl, so you can hear
You can hear the blood and
the
the pain.
blood in the vinyl. No one we're always about doing things no one else has done before, whether it's a good idea or bad. We'll see.
Well, I love the idea. I love it's great. You know, the vinyls, kind of come back and become
Isn't it
in
cool?
fashion again, and it's
Yeah.
great that groups like you. Now, tell me, you've been a part of the changes. The whole, I mean, being together 30 years, you were there
Seen a
before
lot.
the internet, before the iTunes, before all that stuff, and now here we are in a whole new world. Do you look at that as a positive thing or not?
It's just a different thing, I think.
You know, we've often said it was nice to be part of the salad days of the old model of the record industry when it was physical albums were sold. And I mean, the 90s were the heyday of royalties for labels, and they were living high on the hog, and the advances to bands like us were great, and you could make a lot of money if you had a hit album, and luckily we got to be part of that. We were also part of the Sean Fanning and Napster and the crash of it, and the Wild West part where what was it going to be? But now we're finally kind of the light at the end of the tunnel is the sun and not an oncoming freight train. In that streaming, people are starting to see that more people are doing the $9.99 monthly fee. They're wanting to get that quality as opposed to stealing or ripping songs. And if enough people do that, and they are, that the royalties and the quality of life you could have, making music as opposed to being out on the road is starting to be realized again. So we've kind of come full circle.
We have, sort of.
We've
been around long enough to do
still
that.
here. We're still here.
Yeah, you also, when you originally mixed, records, it was probably you did it in one take or two takes or whatever, and you were all in the same room. Now you don't have to be in the same room.
yeah.
And you can
Technology's-
email stuff.
We can't
in.
stand each other. That's the truth. So the less we need to
wall
be
right
around
here.
one another. Oh my God! What you see right now.
It's a facade,
I
right?
can't even
It's-
see
There was
him.
plexiglass.
I don't see.
He's not there.
When I look at Jim, I just see regret.
So just ire.
He's got sunglasses on.
Can you introduce the guys in the band so we know who everybody is that's here?
I'm Tom Drummond. I'm bass player.
Kevin Griffin, singer, guitarist.
Jim Payne, keys, guitar, vocal,
Soothsayer.
soothsayer.
And I'm Michael Jerome on drums.
So what's been the key to 30 years? How have you kept this together for so long?
Well, first of all, we really enjoy what we do. We're not a shoegazer band. We like to get up there and entertain people. And I think that we have had relatively few gimmicks in our music. I mean, the music's real. And so we don't have to get up there and pretend every night, So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I think like we were mentioning earlier, being out on the road as a young band, having to entertain people, to put gas in the tank and buy pizza so you can make it to the next town. That really paid off for us. We had a lot of bands we used to love to watch that we kind of emulated, and it was, you got to put on a great show. And Elton John famously, has said that you're going to have hit albums. What sustains a long career is a great touring audience, that live show. So that's why we're here. That's why a band like Bare Naked Ladies was like, hey, we want you to go out on tour with us. Your numbers, you draw to this day, you draw really well out on the road, and that's really kind of affirming, because sometimes you question it when you're out there. You're like, oh my gosh, it's a rainy night, and you're in Des Moines, and there's not a lot of people out there, but you keep going. We're a testament to not quitting. Like Tom said, we were together 7 years before we got signed, but we just kept doing it, and the idea is that hopefully talent and hard work pays off, and we're certainly an example of that.
I think when you're out there on tour and it gets to be like we're on 9 in a row right now, you got to remember that somebody in the audience, you're their favorite band, and they have made an effort to come and see you, and they want to have a good time. You keep that in the back of your mind, and it's just easy to do.
Or they don't like you at all, and you want to change
To win
their
them
mind.
over,
You want to change their mind. You can see them out in the audience. Actually, at the end of shows, we'll come back off and like, "This is a great show," and Jim would be like, "Did you see that one guy in the front row just going?"
I wasn't having any of it.
By the end, he's up.
By the end of the night, yeah. So you guys, I mean, have done a little country music too. I mean, some of your members have left in the past with Sugarland and some other things. So you kind of What lane
He's
would
out
you?
with them right now, actually.
And I think Taylor Swift too. Somebody.
Yeah. Taylor's recorded a couple of our songs and performed. She's a friend of ours, T Swift.
So what lane would you say you're happiest and most comfortable in?
Our music, we started off an alternative rock band. That was the genre we were put in, and we consider ourselves that. But like most things, what was edgy and dangerous a long time ago becomes mainstream. So I think we're just a rock band. Mm-hmm. Pop leanings. Some of our songs, we've always incorporated what we're listening to. And so look, I've been living in Nashville for the past 7 years. Songs like "The Great Unknown" off the new album have a bit of a country vibe. We get influenced by what we consider just great music, and hopefully that gets put through the sieve of Better Than Ezra. And
That's a bit of how you stay relevant too. You just listen to your contemporaries, and you don't necessarily emulate it, but you are listening to it and you're aware of it. So
we want to be a world music band.
I had this
I think
conversation.
Jerome will like that.
I had a conversation with a friend of mine the other day. We were talking about, it's so hard to not record something that sounds like something else these days because there's been so many songs done. We're talking about the legal battles. Ed Sheeran's now got a $100 million copyright suit, and with Marvin Gaye's family.
He's got a few, right?
And
George Harrison.
Exactly. So when you record something, if you've got a line, a verse, a riff,
Exactly.
it's going to sound like something somewhere.
If often as a songwriter, you call it stepping. Mm-hmm. Like, are we stepping on that? And you'll go listen, and you're like, oh, it's the worst. Because the worst is when you're in songwriting session, everyone's fired up, and then finally somebody goes, I think we're stepping on a Taylor Swift song. That happened to me. Shake It Off. And I was like, oh, and you try to save it. You convince yourself for an hour, in vain, and finally you let it go. But sometimes you're right.
You're standing on it, not stepping on it.
Then you're standing on it.
Is anybody taking good?
No, nobody has. But a song I wrote with Howie Day, a song called Collide.
Yes.
A bank appropriated it and had re-recorded it, and they used it in a big nationwide bank commercial. And the publishers went after them, and it was a good day when that was settled.
Yeah, you guys have had a number of songs in commercials.
We have. I think our favorite one was "Desperate Housewives" with Juicy.
Juicy, yeah.
And then that was
ran a
also an
lot.
Applebee's steak commercial.
Right.
It's funny because there was a time like when we started where you syncing or giving your song to be synced up with an advertisement or a movie was considered uncool. Mm-hmm. And then Moby came along, the electronic artist came along in the 90s and changed that and made so much money that everybody else was like, we'll do it.
Right, we want a piece
But
of it.
now bands, you wave that flag because radio is often elusive especially with a band that's been around. So you look for those commercials that are using your songs, whether it's Desperate Housewives or Applebee's.
We turned down a couple of offers where we're like, what were we thinking?
We turned down an offer to play a new product was coming out. A type of potato chip was coming out, and it was a sweepstakes, and the winner got to go see B-52s and Better Than Ezra on the USS Intrepid, and their opening offer to us was $500,000, and we said no.
Oh, of course.
And 2 years later, we called our managers like, "Hey, man, you think you could still get that gig?" He was like, "No, it's gone, and I'm quitting."
We've got Better Than Ezra in our studios, still together after all these years, still on tour and putting out some new music. We're going to ask if you do another song for us.
Oh yeah,
That would be great.
let's do we're going to do our new song.
All right.
And that's usually when people go get refreshments at a show.
Don't leave now. Don't leave now. Don't turn off the TV or the radio.
This will actually be the first time we've ever done this.
This is the first
Yeah, this will be the first.
televised version of this song. It's called Grateful, and it's about being grateful for the things you have that, despite maybe the craziness and the chaos in your life or in the world, kind of finding those rays of hope and those things that to be thankful for. I have a grandfather who often said, I wouldn't trade my problems for anybody else's problems, and that just really resonates, and that's kind of where this song was inspired from.
I love it. Better Than Ezra.
Where's the silver lining? I wake up to the sound of the whole world crying. You hear it long enough, and your hope starts dying. Got a million things to do, what's the point in trying? But I'm trying anyway. I'm gonna be grateful every day. Make a little wave and we'll ride it. I'm gonna keep shaking off the shit. Make a little ray and we'll shine it on. Come on, Michael. Shine it on. We may never get a halo. This don't look like heaven, but you're always gonna be my angel. Everybody keep running till they get to the end of that rainbow. Now there may be no pot of gold, honey, that's okay though. Yeah, that's okay though. I'm gonna be grateful every day. Make a little wave and we'll ride it. I'm gonna keep shaking off the shit. Make a little ray and we'll shine it on. Yeah, we'll keep on rising, never gonna stop. Yeah, we keep on shining on. Yeah, we keep on rising, we're never gonna stop. Yeah, we keep on shining up. I'm gonna be grateful every day. Make a little wave and we'll ride it. I'm gonna keep shaking off the shade. Make a little ray and we'll shine it on. Yeah, we keep on rising, never gonna stop. Woo!
Yeah. Woo! Better Than Ezra.
Yeah.
Multi-platinum
The control
recording
room
artist.
is people. They can't see this. Control room is going nuts. Their shirts are in the air.
They're standing around the world.
They're doing
right now.
cartwheels.
It gets
Everybody.
in your blood.
It does. Now, Kevin, are you the songwriter, principal songwriter? Is it collaboration?
I am,
How's it work?
but all these guys are songwriters and creators, and that was a song written with a guy named Mark Skibilia, who's I think he's has a new album out, a young artist who's got a really good following, and we were writing one day, and I was like, wow, I know we're in a songwriting session for you, and you want to record this, but I think I'm going to take this song. And it became a Better Than Ezra song.
So why wait so long for another album? It's been, 2014 was the last album, so what's been going on for 4 or 5 years now? Life gets in the way, huh?
For the longest time, Better Than Ezra was everything we all did. And then now Better Than Ezra is something we do. And I think that, as you asked earlier, what you attribute to being together for 30 years, we've kind of, we have families and different interests and pursuits, and the songs have to be ready, and they say, we're always writing, but some songs are Better Than Ezra songs, and some songs are, maybe a Taylor Swift song or
Yeah,
something like that.
by what Kevin said, by not being the only thing makes it a special thing for when we do it, and it just makes it better all the way around.
So what other things are you doing in between?
Well, I mean, we have kids. I got a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, and that's,
Are the
as soon
kids
as I
all
get
doing
off,
music?
as soon as I get off tour, here you go.
Tom's, you're all busy producing.
Yeah,
stuff.
I have a studio in New Orleans and produce sort of regional artists that are trying to take it to that next level, sort of thing.
Do the kids do music? I mean, all your kids?
My daughter's a really good vocalist, and she's got some talent. My son, he's 7. He's more interested in turning the knobs on the board and
like his dad.
Yeah.
Producer.
I've got 3 boys. One's about to go off to LSU.
Yeah, congratulations.
In Baton Rouge, and then 9-year-old twin boys, and they're kind of into music. They're going to be taking music lessons this fall. But if I'm not doing Better Than Ezra stuff, it's writing and producing other artists. Whether it's a band called the Struts or Madison Ward and Mama Bear, or a band called Moon Taxi that's doing well right now. I started a music festival a few years ago called Pilgrimage Festival. You can go to pilgrimagefestival.com. This year we've got Dave Matthews, Chris Stapleton, Lionel Richie, Hosier.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a great festival.
Yeah, it's a
great
great.
festival.
They've done a really good job on the festival. It's really good.
Very nice.
So it's done really well. Justin Timberlake became a partner in the festival a couple of years ago, so he's no slouch. So that keeps me busy. And just life, I guess, right?
Yeah.
What's been the highlight? I mean, with 30 years and all the things you guys are doing, could you single out anything other than today and being on the Voice of
You
America? 'Cause
took
I
the
knew
words
I knew that was
out
coming.
of
I could
my
see
mouth.
it, Kevin. I
You
could
knew
see
where
the
my
wheels
head was.
spinning. So, but beyond that, career highlight.
For me, what would you say?
I would say we were asked to play for our beloved New Orleans Saints
Super Bowl.
for the Super Bowl when they
Wow.
won. Win or lose, we were
victory
going
party.
to play.
That was
We just happened to play
that was a great
for the
moment.
victory party.
2010, when the Saints went to the Super Bowl and won, the team invited us, flew us down. We rode on the team bus to and from the game with Reggie Bush and Drew Brees. We played, us and Kenny Chesney played the victory party. We're there with Coach Payton, with the Lombardi Trophy, champagne spraying everywhere, and we're right there with the
Right
team.
there. Hey,
Nobody slept that night.
what position does he play? That's what people were asking.
That was such a great moment. But the everyday moments are, like being on this tour and coming out to these beautiful, tonight, we're in D.C., we're at Wolf Trap. It's sold out, and it's maybe 12,000 people out there. To see people that you recognize, fans throughout the years, singing those songs and reliving those memories, and then they've got their kids with them, and those kids are singing along. That's such a good vibe, and you realize, wow, I'm doing something that has meant something to people. We're a part of the soundtrack to people's lives. That's the greatest thing. So those are little moments each day for me.
The longevity, sort of all those moments together
right.
that we're able to keep doing this.
Yeah, not many
And
bands
enjoy
can
it,
say that.
Yeah.
and like each other.
Yeah,
at
and
the
like
end of
each
the
other.
day.
And genuinely the
No,
thing
I guess
is,
not. I got that.
the thing is, most people, like when we have days off, we call each other up. You guys want to go grab some food, and we're hanging out. It's kind of crazy. There's not a lot of bands that get along. That's why so many in relationships in general, it's tough to make them
Right.
last.
And so you guys have done a lot of international touring. I mean, it must be fun to be on stage in a country, Japan or something, that doesn't speak English, but they know the words to all your songs.
Music is definitely the international language, and if we're playing to an audience that English isn't their first language, you see it translate. In American music, certainly English-based music is the universal language.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a great feeling.
And you've been on tour with Bare Naked Lady for years. I mean, this isn't the brand new thing.
Well, we've done. I've written with Ed from Bare Naked Ladies for about 10 years and worked on the past 3 or 4 albums. And we've done some shows together. But this is our first tour this summer.
Oh, this is the first
We've known them a long time.
I think that we're going to be doing more.
Yeah, I mean, we did many festivals together over the years.
Right.
Because they were having hits around the same time as we were, so it just made sense. But
and
first-
Sugar Ray and Uncle Cracker and
Oh yeah,
all those guys
did that, and we did last summer. We were out. Us and the Wallflowers were out. That was a good tour, and we always kind of rank the different. Who do we have more fun with? but we'll leave that for off camera.
And so you also have a charity foundation that you guys have
do.
been a part
We
of for a
do.
number of years. I want to touch on that. You raising money for, what's the charity for kids?
So post Katrina, New Orleans,
Hurricane
obviously,
Katrina.
Hurricane Katrina, we wanted to find a way where we could really give back, and so, we had some celebrity there, and we found that it was really easy for people to get on board with us. Initially, we were helping first responders, and we worked with Make It Right, some
Which
other
is like
Brad
Habitat
Pitt's-
for Humanity,
like-
rebuilding homes and stuff.
And we did some things with the Audubon Zoo and firefighters, but we wanted to find a way where we really felt like we could make a difference. So we're running after-school programs for underprivileged kids. We started at Bethune Elementary in New Orleans, and we're looking to expand that. So it feels very worthwhile. We have 120 kids who really actually depend on us now.
We've
So-
rebuilt playgrounds, done splash parks, the after-school music program, rebuilt the teachers' lounge at Bethune Elementary. A couple times a year, a truck pulls up and gives
Supplies.
crayons and construction paper, scissors, all the things that most kids in schools take for granted. They don't
Right.
have, and it's amazing. But that's been going on. This will be the 17th year.
Yeah, we're in it thick now.
And
right?
now, we've got a board of directors and a full-time executive director, and it's become certainly bigger than the sum of its parts.
Yeah. We hold 2 or 3 events every year now.
We get to just show up and play for the fundraisers, and now there's people really taking an ownership to it and do amazing things.
And everybody in Louisiana, they've recovered from Katrina, or is there still?
I don't know if everybody, certainly New Orleans seems like it's on the right path. I think if you talk to some people, they would say no. But, if indications that there are more restaurants and bars in New Orleans now than there were pre-Katrina, I guess if you look at it that way, it seems like it's doing okay.
Exactly. There are people who probably had a terrible experience and can cite, how they'll never be the same. And so many people just left the city.
Yeah.
I did. We were like, let's move.
First
And-
time the band didn't live in the same city.
Yeah, but like a lot like Detroit, when it had its bankruptcy and stuff, and things got really bad. Post Katrina, New Orleans was really bad, but entrepreneurs and people saw opportunity. So young people, tech started coming into the city, cheap, amazing real estate. New Orleans is one of the most beautiful, magical cities in the country. So that has been one of the silver linings in the tragedy of Katrina.
And is BTE Foundation? Is that what it's-
BTEfoundation.org. Go donate. We have an online auction that's always going, and we always need help. And we always have events. We have the tailgate.
Tailgate's October 8th before Monday Night Football. Saints and Redskins.
I mean, come down. It's a blast.
It
You
is a
hang
fun
out with
time.
us. You have some great jambalaya, some couchon de lait, some boudin. And you get a little better than Ezra action. And a lot of times we have the 610 Stompers who perform with us. Do you know who
They're
the
with us.
610?
No.
They're with us for that.
They
It's
were in the Macy's
There-
Thanksgiving
this
Day
is
parade.
so about 150 dudes with dad bods and pot bellies and stuff. They started. They do synchronized dance routines, and they wear old polyester coaching shorts and
Red
knee
shorts.
high,
Or blue shorts, rather.
tube socks, and head sweatbands,
Red
and
satin jacket.
and they started in New Orleans. They started doing Mardi Gras parades, but now, like Jim said, it's Macy's Day Parade, all the the Rose Bowl and stuff, and they will be performing.
And I remember when they first appeared on the Macy's parade, the announcers went, "What?"
That's New Orleans, baby.
Yeah, so it's a great time. So go to btefoundation.org, check it out, and get involved.
It's going to be at Manning's as well. So
Which
first
is
time.
the Manning brothers, Eli and Peyton.
And Archie.
Being from New Orleans, it's great. The city really supports and embraces its own. And because of that, we have so many fans and so much warmth in that city. But also, like the Mannings, Coach Peyton, the sports teams and stuff, we've become really close with them. And so when we do our events, like the tailgate, you're going to see some
show
Saints
up. Yeah,
there. You're going to see some
Community spirit.
Yeah,
You'll see
it is.
Anthony.
It's a
Hopefully,
true
Anthony
community
Davis will be there. Being a roadie that day or something. You just never know.
All right, better than Ezra here. Would you do another song for us?
Yeah, what are we
Let's
gonna
do it. Should we do Desperately Wanting? You want to do Desperately Wanting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pass the road to your house. where you never called home, where they turned out your lights, though they say you'll never know. I remember running through the wet grass, falling to sit behind. Both of us never tiring, desperately wanting. When they pumped out your guts, filled you full of those pills, you were never quite right, disturbing all the chills. Say the worst is over, kick it over again. And when they ask what went wrong, will they turn you on again? Yeah, they turn you on again. I remember running through the wet grass, falling to sit behind. Both of us never tiring, is really wanting. I remember running through the wet grass, falling to sit behind. Both of us never tiring, is really wanting. Kick 'em right in the face, make them wish they weren't born. And if they bring up your name, well, say you won the war. Baby, bus in the world, never given a chance. And then they ask what went wrong, when you never had it right. No, you never had it right. I remember running through the wet grass, falling and sit behind. Both of us never tiring, it's really wanting. I remember running through the wet grass, falling and sit behind. Both of us never tiring, it's really wanting. Oh, the letters have dropped off, though they say you got them all finally figured out. Some things you'll never know. Take back your life, let me inside, and we'll find the door. If you care to anymore. I remember running through the wet grass, falling to sit behind. Both of us never tiring, it's really wanting. I remember running through the wet grass, falling to sit behind. Both of us never tiring, it's really wanting. Oh no, yeah, yeah. Oh no, 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 no. Woo.
Yes, yes, yes. Better Than Ezra, live on the Voice of America.
Thank you,
Thank
world.
you, world.
Thank you, world.
Yeah,
This is-
right.
There you
World.
Thank you.
world.
So you guys, where can we get the new album?
The new album will be everywhere.
Everywhere.
Retail, vinyl, CD, but
We gotta
streaming
finish it
and
first.
Streaming and stuff. It'll be
2019, you said?
2019 new album. The new single's out right now. It's out on BMG, which is a worldwide conglomerate, evil empire corporation.
And on your website, I'm sure people
On the
want
website, betterthanezra.com, you could check it out. And again, BTE Foundation.
And the re-release of Deluxe.
That's right. That's right.
PledgeMusic.
On vinyl.
Vinyl. Get your vinyl on.
So when you put the 10th album out, please come back.
Oh, brother.
Love to have you back.
We would love to be back and
Thank you.
continued
Thank you.
success.
Kind
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Is Better
Thank
Than
you.
Ezra right here on the Voice of America. You're watching Border Crossings.